Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We'll be graphing circles and you will be able to work on 11.3. Today students will be able to graph circles from mixed types of equations. And we're going to try to do our video. There are some construction going on in our neighborhood, but we'll do our best. Okay, number one, it says x plus 1 all to the second power plus y plus 2 all to the second power equals 3. This is already in standard form. We already have it ready to be graphed because from here we can find the center and we can find the radius. To find the center, for the x value, it will be the opposite of what is being added or subtracted. In here, it says plus 1, so it's going to be negative 1. For y, we're adding 2, so it's going to be the opposite, which is negative 2. So that's our center point. For the radius, we just take the square root of the answer, which in this case will be the square root of 3. In 11.1, it explains of why this point and why we take the square root, okay? And the square root of 3 is 1.7. Okay, so the center is at -1, -2. -1, -2 is right here. From the point, our radius is 1.7, so it's almost 2, but not quite. Let me move this out of the way. So let's start graphing. Your point goes on the center, the pencil goes on the other point that you found with your radius. And so we place them in there. It's going to be really hard to graph this because it's so tiny. Whoops! They're more or less. Sorry about that. Number 2, the center. And I'm doing this because it's already set up as well. So the center will be, if it's subtracting 1, it's going to be positive 1 for x. For y, we're subtracting 3, so it's going to be positive 3. Remember that is that opposite. For the radius, you take the square root of the answer, and so this is 3. The square root of 9 is 3. So now we have our center is at 1, 3. So 1 on x, 3 on y, it's right there. And the 3 for the radius, we just count 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be 1 point on the circle. We close it. And then we start our circle. Okay, and you can turn the page to make it easier. And there it is. For number 3, we're going to have to use some skills from 11.2 as well. So for the y, it's all set up. For the x, it's not. And so let me move the y to the second space. So it's y plus 3 square. That's all ready for that part. For the x, we're going to have to complete the square. And from 11.2, if you remember, let me just bring it down and leaving the space to complete that square. And so for the next part, and so we bring down the x. If you recall, we divide this by 2 to complete the square. So it's going to be 6 divided by 2 is 3 plus 3. And this is going to be raised to the second power. So 3 times 3 is 9. And we add it in here. But if we add it to the left, we have to add it to the right as well. Okay. Again, we just bring down this part right here, which is y plus 3 square equals, and now we add this 2, which is 9 plus 7 is 16. Now it's in standard form, so we can graph it by finding the center and finding the radius. So for the center, again, is the opposite of this, which is -3. Opposite of y, we're subtracting or adding to the y, so it's -3 as well. And for the radius, we need to take the square root of the answer, which is square root of 16 is 4. The center is a -3, -3, so -1, -2, -3, -1, -2, -3, right there. And for the radius, we just count 4 spaces, so 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. We open our compass to those 2 points and start rotating our page. For the next one, what I want you to notice is that we have 2 terms for x, 2 terms for y, equal to the -1. So we can complete the square for each one of these parts. So let's rewrite it so that we can leave that spot so that we can complete the square for x. We can complete the square for y by adding and then equals to -1. Again, this part, if you don't understand it, you'd need to go over 11.2 again so that you can know where these come from. For here, we put x and y. To find this right here, we divide the middle term by 2, and 4 divided by 2 is +2. We raise that to the second power, and 2 times 2 is 4, so +4, but whatever we add on the left of the equal sign, we have to add on this side as well. For the other one, we divide by 2, and that's +1. Raise that to the second power, and actually including the sign, and +1 times +1 is +1. But if we add it to the left of the equal sign, we have to add it to the right of the equal sign. Okay, so now we can see that -1 and +1 cancel, so we are left with 4 only, and we are all set to find our center and our radius. Again, the center of the circle will be at the opposite of that, which is -2, opposite of that, which is -1 for y. And for the radius, you take the square root of the answer, which is square root of 4 is 2. The center is a -2, -1. The radius is 2 spaces, and you can put them up or left or down or right. It doesn't matter. Or you can write all of them. It's up to you. But sometimes it doesn't really go through all the points. Okay, open your compass to those. Remember, the center goes with the point, and the other point that you found on the circle goes with your pencil. Okay, and now we can turn our page. I had to fold it a little in there. Ugh, I'm getting trapped. It's because this, I think this paper opens a little too much with the point. My point is very sharp, and that's why it opens and then it moves a little. But do the best you can. Number 5, the first thing that we are going to do is to subtract 2 from both sides. This cancels, and I'm going to have x squared plus y squared minus 2y equals 3. And the x squared is already a complete square, but this one we have to complete it, so we're going to rewrite it as y squared minus 2y. Put the line for whatever we need to add in there, equals 3. Again, we rewrite x squared plus y, and then in here we're going to divide this by 2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. And we raise that to the second power, so -1 times -1 is +1. If we add it to one side, we are going to add it to the other, and 3 plus 1 is 4. Always remember to add whatever it's on the left, you add to the right, because otherwise it's not going to come out correct. That's equals to 4. And so it's now in standard form, so we can find our center. For x, nothing is being added or subtracted, so that will be 0. For y, it's subtracting 1, so the opposite is +1. For the radius, we take the square root of the answer, and the square root of 4 is 2. So we're ready to graph. The center is at 0, 1, 0. We don't move. And then 1 for y goes up. Then 2 spaces from there is 1, 2 right there. The last one was also 2, so it's all set up. And you start turning your paper. And there it is. Oof. I think this was the best one. With that, we end our lesson. And if you can please give us a thumbs up, subscribe around here. This is the playlist for the entire unit. And here will be the next lesson. Now you're able to do 11.3. And when I say have fun, it's because I want you to you're going to have to do your homework anyways. So you can decide to have fun or just do it grumpily. So, you know what? Have fun.